The cries of the children massacred in Cameroon rise like incense. The spilt blood of innocent youth in Nigeria calls for vengeance. The tears of assaulted women in Liberia have formed an ocean, and the sweat, blood, and tears of exploited children in Ghana hit the ground like meteor showers. Africa, you're weeping. And because of your wounds and its repercussions, you refuse to be comforted. The wounds that now house various microorganisms and viruses. The wounds that now bleeds escar and necrosis. The wounds that have morphed your beautiful melanin to the colors in Picasso's artwork. The wounds that have caused you so much pain and damage. However, remember that you didn't acquire these wounds in a day, neither did the damage start today. But the wounds were present in our foundation when the knife of greed, the blade of oppression, and the sharp edge of corruption slit our skin open. And instead of treating them for generation upon generations, we hid them under ascetics and tradition, so they bred infection and eventually necrosis. Despite this, we continue to hide them under culture, and now the damage has spread so much that our honor and beauty can barely be seen under the layers of escar and ischemia. So now we sit and we lament. Because when you see Africa, you do not see the once glorious Africa, but a pile of dead tissue and rotten flesh. The worst part of our dilemma isn't even the physical damage, but the emotional brokenness. Because as the years went on, some bred hopelessness with the infections and mixed faithlessness with the necrosis, and it has grown to a gangrene of brothers and sisters leaving the motherland. Brothers and sisters who have already predetermined in their heart that freedom is only a fantasy and death is her destiny. So they bury her in an early grave and pack their family and go off to a distant country, because if Africa rots and dies, waiting concern them. Now she sabi. So now, Africa lays in a grave that was never financed by the white man, but by those in her own land. Dear brothers and sisters, I know you are hurt. I know you have become numb to the pain. I know you are tired of weeping. But death only starts with hopelessness. And even the dead can rise again. I think it's time for Africa to awaken. I think it's time for dry bones which have been separated to join again in holy matrimony. I think it's time for sinews and flesh to clothe her shame and nakedness. And I think it's time for the breath of life to enter her lungs. I think it's time for Africa to live again. Because even a tree, though chopped to the floor, still has hope of rising from the ground, no matter how great the fall, no matter how black the stump. At the scent of water, she will bud and bring forth branches like a new plant, as long as she knows where her water is coming from. Because there is only one river in the desert who gives the type of dew and rain that awakens the dead, gives growth to the driest ground, and impregnates the barren. Plus, this living water is not far from your dwelling, so sing, O barren land. Because he who pours his spirit on the broken gives beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, and liberty to the captives, and healing to the brokenhearted. He is the one who sent his only son, and the only one who heals our wounds. So dry your tears, my motherland. Because he who causes dry bones to come together and grow flesh is willing to heal you. He still gives breath to whoever requests and gives life to what was dead. And I am so certain That if God can take a broken people, so flawed and sinful, despised, rejected, and sprawling in her own blood, and wash them with his word, clothing them with garments of righteousness, a turban of glory, while calling them sons and daughters of a king, I do not doubt that he can't take what is broken in our land and make a masterpiece. No matter who doesn't believe, no matter who doesn't think we're not worthy of news coverage, I say, our God is willing to heal our land. So come near and quench your thirst. Though you are empty, he is the well, and if you draw from him, he will respond. Don't matter what anyone else says. CNN, the news, Africa, you are worthy. And to all my skeptics, I can sense your frustration. I know you feel hopeless because you've watched your ancestors preach prayer and faith for countless years, and yet Africa still seems broken. I can sense your frustration, and I wonder if the Israelites felt the same way. I wonder if they watched their predecessors pray for generations upon generations to a God who seemed silent. And after 400 years of serving a harsh king, watching generations born into and die in slavery, freedom must have only sounded like a fictional story. However, in front of their very eyes, it became a reality. But because of the years they spent in bondage, they still had the minds of slaves and servants. Even when they could see, their hearts could not believe. So when revival came, they missed it, and they died as slaves in the wilderness. Please, my brothers and sisters, don't let your past experiences or hopelessness or fear keep you from your promised land. My sisters, my brothers, there is hope, but it all begins with us. So as your mothers go on the street with only a thin wrapper protecting her from the harsh Hamatan wind, or as your pressing phone youth mobilize an army through Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or as your men walk down the expressway with flags and signs expressing their frustration, remember to hold on to the one who frees us from bondage. Keep speaking out against oppression and continue to be a voice for the voiceless. And even when they try to suppress your voice and quiet it down, hold on to the hope like it's the oxygen you breathe and turn your volume up. Come rain, come shine, come death, come prison.
Speak up, Africa.
Ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ sókè, ẹ̀yin ìyá wa.
Ma Mekasa.